Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. As always, we'll start with some EVE Online, and I think I played a little bit less than average EVE Online, but I still got some mining done, some exploration done as well. I kept up with the blueprint copy business, but that took a little bit less effort because demand is clearly down. I'm selling much fewer contracts than the weeks before this, and also the blueprint copies for the structures themselves are dropping in price quite quickly. So that is setting me back a little bit when it comes to earning more capital. On the other hand, you may have seen in EVE Talk that Plex have gone up like 10% in a week, and for 30 days it's like close to 1.8 billion ISK. So, you know, we might just sell some Plex in order to fund our next project if we need to do it that way. But other than that, I've been flying with a jackdaw that was given to me by a viewer. Very nice gift with some interesting ideas when it comes to the munitions and things like that. So more on that next week. But next week also we are going to see, of course, the December patch with the changes to alpha clones. I think that is basically what has spurred on that increased demand for Plex themselves. Interestingly enough, if you watched EVE Talk, you know that Plex have gone up really very sharply all of a sudden, but the skill injectors have not moved so much, and that felt like a little bit of a strange thing. But I guess that people are expecting alpha clones to go for those daily alpha injectors that CCP will sell directly, and then the result is of course quite normal. So I'm curious to see what the impact is going to be. On the one hand, this really does make it a free-to-play option for EVE Online, very compelling, because you will be able to fly up to battleships, you'll be able to get up to cruisers with Tech 2 weapons, so you will really be able to compete very effectively, and most importantly, of course, you'll be able to cross-train across the races so that you could also fly pirate ships and things like that. And that is going to be a major change to the alpha clone experience, but it's going to be quite a bit of work to get there, which I personally don't mind, right? You get like, let's say 5 million skill points for free that you can train at half the normal pace. And if then you can set yourself a goal, like I want to fly the Raven, or I want to fly a Dominix, or even a Rattlesnake or something like that, then you can just decide on a plan on how to earn those skill points. Maybe try to earn enough ISK so that you can get Plex for the daily alpha injectors, or maybe you can just straight up try to buy them from the market. Since it's on a daily basis, I think that it does become something that even players that really don't want to pay a monthly sub for EVE Online might still be interested in doing. And so as a result, I'm very curious to see how all of these things are going to evolve after the patch hits. Next up, we have some Heroes of the Storm. So here I've played a lot less games when it comes to Heroes of the Storm, because I am working on getting back into the finish one daily quest and always have 2 other daily quests in the queue. It's been the first week, so it's not really all that representative, but I must say that I have the Play 8 Games quest, and that I'm slowly, of course, working on that one, which actually increases my efficiency quite a little bit. I thought at first that maybe you would get this quest quite often, even if you completely empty out the quest queue, and that does not happen. So the first quests that I usually get are stuff like play 2 games with a warrior hero, play a couple of games with a Diablo hero, things like that, which can be combined, but if you constantly fill it out, then you never really get the quest to play 8 games, which is 800 golds, or to win 3 games, which is 600 golds that can actually be earned pretty easily. And so as a result, I actually think that this method might be a better gold maker than completing everything right off the bat, which to me feels a little bit strange. Playing fewer games of Heroes of the Storm earns you more gold. That feels a little bit counterintuitive, but it seems to be the case so far. So my plan is to continue this, just always finish one quest and then stop when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. It makes the way I look at these games a little bit different as well. Basically, it doesn't matter so much to me if I win or lose, and all these games are just quick in and out. It's very, very casual. When I was trying to complete the daily quest, you know, sometimes of course I wouldn't do it on one day, then I'd have 2 quests to complete, so I'd play maybe 5 games sometimes, and yep, there at the end you do become quite engaged into it. You want to perform well, you start to really pay attention to the other players. I feel like at that point you're also making progress in your ability to play Heroes of the Storm, and that is completely gone, but so is all the stress. So you just play, I would say, 2 max 3 games on a day. And then sometimes when you happen to combine quests, you don't need to play any of them on another day. And so as a result, it's a very casual experience so far. And so I'm going to keep that up, see if indeed my gold earnings go up or not. We'll see how that works out. After that we have some Stellaris. So that's a game that I've actually played last weekend, but I didn't keep any of the footage there, I don't think, for the Sunday recap. Or did I? No, I'm not sure anymore. But I also finished it off, basically, that game early this week as well. So that's another game that I played with a machine race. Very interesting in my opinion. I once again went with some fast builders so that I could increase my population quite quickly. And I kept myself a little bit smaller, not because I wanted to, but just basically because the setup of the game worked out that way, because of the setting of the different other races that were around me. And then, as I've said, the goal here was to try and instead of exterminating them and taking every planet over, to try and conquer those races, put them under my banner, and just try to conquer the entire galaxy that way, without having to really take a lot of time of conquering a planet, exterminating the population, rebuilding your own population, and things like that. So it's a very interesting playstyle. I'm not going to spoil how everything works out, but some things to keep in mind, of course, is that you do have a much smaller fleet and a smaller population as well. So your own economy is quite a bit weaker than when you're going with the exterminator and you really try to push out your own borders, becoming a massive blob. It has its disadvantages, but a big advantage that I found, of course, is that when you've got the right target, so someone that's not too large compared to your own empire, you can basically finish things off in a single war, and then you can really chain the wars one after another, meaning that you speed up the result of the game by quite a bit. So it's a very interesting playstyle, but it also had its problems as well. More on that when the series comes out. I think it's actually planned now for early 2018. So there's still quite a bit to go, but it was very, very interesting. And then it also gave me basically my next goal to try and fix those problems. I think it could be interesting to also play a Stellaris game with the driven assimilators. I wonder how those work. Never really explored that, so I basically think that that's my next step. Not for immediately. I've played that Stellaris game really quite intensively over the course of like 5 days, doing my best to find out how everything works. Try my tactic that I wanted to try, and then make a small series out of that. So next for Stellaris, I think I'm gonna try Driven Assimilator, but it may fall after the next patch, because I've been seeing some dev posts and things like that from the Stellaris dev team that they are working on some really substantial changes there as well, with a new DLC pack once again. And we'll have to make a decision on that, whether or not I want to buy it and continue with some Stellaris before the patch, after the patch. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, the machine races for me, absolutely my favorite playstyle so far in Stellaris. And then finally, coming out of left field, we've got Destiny 2. So that's a game that I bought during the Black Friday sales. The idea here was that I wanted to check it out, not at full price, but I felt like, having never played a Destiny game, it could actually be worth it to experience Destiny 2, especially from the perspective that on most reviews I saw so far, they've been decently mixed, but they've always said that, well, Destiny 2 is the game that they should have gotten for Destiny 1. If that was their first experience in the Destiny world, it would have been absolutely amazing. And so as a result, I've never played Destiny 1. I thought, why not buy it, give it give it a go. And so far, personally, I am really enjoying it quite a lot. I feel like I can take my time and not have to rush through the main story, because there's lots of easily accessible stuff to do next to the main storyline. So I think I've bought it for like 40 euros, a little bit less than that. I think I'll very easily get 40 hours of fun out of the game. It's also very polished, great graphics, incredible music. I'm really amazed by the music there. And it really feels to me like it's a living world with other players in there, because sometimes you get into the hubs, there's other players, then you get into like a mission hub, you could say, and there's also other players just running around doing some public events and things like that. The shooting mechanics work really great, and I'm having fun. I only finished like the first hub, and the second hub on Titan is basically what I just finished. That's where I got. Only playing pretty much this weekend. I didn't really have the energy to get started with Destiny 2 over the last week, because, well, I still have to go to work, unfortunately. But yeah, I bought it on the Black Friday sale, and I don't think I'm going to regret it. I do need to see, of course, how long it lasts until you finish the main storyline, which is like basically what I at least want to do. But since I'm also doing all those side missions, combat stuff, and sometimes jumping in with other players on those public events, so far I think I'll get my money's worth out of Destiny 2 just as a solo casual player with a decent amount of time to play some Destiny 2. So yeah, there you go guys, that one is coming as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.